Hey, what's up guys, Riv here. So every couple of days there's another round of news involving Ubisoft in one of their games, and you think it can't get any worse for that company. Well, today we have a very serious set of news involving Ubisoft, and honestly at this point, they have to have hit rock bottom. Like, it can't get any worse than this, and if you look at the stock, it's truly reflected by it. So over the past year there's been a sharp decline in their stock, and over the past couple of days, another sharp decline that has prompted some of the investors who are already very disgruntled to claim that they have support of 10% of shareholders in the management tussle. So they are trying to mobilize and possibly force the sale of the company. Now, part of that is, of course, due to a very serious set of news involving Assassin's Creed Shadows. It has been reported that Ubisoft is officially delaying the release of this game to February of 2025. So it turns out Assassin's Creed Shadows will not be the final flop for Ubisoft in the year 2024. It'll actually be their first flop of 2025. Now, overall, this has been a big promise to shareholders. Assassin's Creed Shadows was something they were claiming was going to turn things around, and it's looking like the exact opposite. And recently, over the past couple of days, it has been a non-stop flurry of bad news for Ubisoft and in particular Assassin's Creed Shadows. So before we talk about the delay of this game, let's talk about what's happened over the past couple of days alone. So we begin with this right here. So Kazuma Hashimoto, who is a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee, he went to the New York Times and set up this terrible piece defending Assassin's Creed Shadows from criticism, where he claimed that people in the West are the only ones angry about Yasuke being labeled as a samurai and also being the placeholder of one of the two main protagonists of this game. And he also made the wild claim that most of the negative online comments are from Westerners LARPing as Japanese users, and they're translating their stuff from English to Japanese. And that is largely dispelled by many different things, but the easiest point of reference is the Ubisoft Japan trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows. You can see the Japanese side of YouTube is absolutely destroying this trailer that has a roughly 98% dislike ratio. And only a day or so after that, we saw this post that has gotten a lot of attention. So translated from Japanese to English, we can see this. Please spread the word. Assassin's Creed Shadows figures from Ubisoft, a famous Japanese hate and criminal company. A figurine of a destroyed Torii Gate has been released, which is believed to be based on the one-legged Torii Gate that was destroyed in the Nagasaki atomic bombing. I have never seen a one-legged Torii other than the destroyed one by the American atomic bomb in Nagasaki. So it is alleged by these users and believed by many that the background of this merchandise is featuring this one-legged Torii Gate that was destroyed by the atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki during World War II, which temporally is already a mistake because this is from the 20th century versus a game that's based in feudal Japan during the 1600s. On top of that, it's just outright offensive. A lot of people on the Japanese side of Twitter and just gamers in general from Japan are very offended by this. They have a different culture when it comes to tragic events like this. I know a lot of people, especially Americans, can joke about tragic events like 9/11 and stuff like that, and most people won't be too offended by it. But when it comes to things like the bombs dropped on Japan during World War II, that is a very sensitive subject. If you bring that up, especially with merchandise like this, you are going to offend people in Japan, and this tweet was no different. On top of that, only about a day after that fiasco, Ubisoft announced that they're canceling press previews of Assassin's Creed Shadows. On top of those press previews that are canceled, they also announced that they're canceling their online participation in the Tokyo Game Show 2024. And this is something that got a lot of attention. People were saying, wait a second, is something bigger going on here? Why are they canceling all these press previews? Well, we know the reason why now. So yesterday, it was announced in a bombshell that Assassin's Creed Shadows will now release in February of 2025, February 14th to be specific. Now, this is a pretty big deal. A lot of people are looking at this situation and saying, yeah, they're probably just stalling out at this point. Because of all the controversy surrounding this game, they literally just want to bury their heads in the sand and hope everyone forgets what happened over the past year and all the controversy surrounding this game and Ubisoft, and then they go out and buy it in February. Because really at this point, it can't get any worse, right? But let's read this statement from Ubisoft and the Assassin's Creed team saying, "Dear players, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or the renewed stealth bought by new technology, all set in the beautiful and immersive world. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need to focus more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. They go on to say, as such, we've made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14th, 2025. The game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam, at launch. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. They go yada yada, they go on, but you get the point. They are not only pushing this to February, they're also announcing that they're going to launch this on a broader range of platforms, including Steam, which is something that they were not planning on doing, and it just shows that they are doing everything in their power to increase the number of sales and potential players that'll be there on release. Now, of course, the comment section is absolutely obliterating them, people making fun of them, but I think this right here is the funniest interaction. So Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows, they are hiding replies on this tweet, hiding the replies that clearly got under their skin. And this one in particular is the first one you see in the hidden replies, and it's just a complete mess. So this user says, just delay it further. Nobody wants to play as a black dude killing Asians in feudal Japan. We see that enough in San Francisco. Brutal. And you can see it has 31,000 likes. It's ratioing the official post from Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows. And as always, these accounts not understanding how social media works, especially Twitter, you do not hide replies. That is the worst thing you can do. It creates a separate tab where all the hidden replies are instantly viewable. It's basically like putting all these comments on a giant billboard and saying, this stuff got under our skin. Please don't like this. And of course, people mocking Ubisoft are going to promote and like tweets like this. Now, a lot of people also looked at the timing of this announcement. The same day Ghost of Yotai was announced by PlayStation. This is obviously a successor to Ghost of Tsushima. And this game also not only threatens some of the success of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also a lot of people have their own concerns about this game, mainly centering on the person playing the main protagonist, Atsu here, played by the actress Erika Ishii. And a lot of people have been digging through her social media accounts, in particular her Twitter account, and they've been finding a lot of vitriol, a lot of very, let's just say, hyper-political tweets, very aggressive stuff. And a lot of people are looking at her and saying she is nothing more than an activist. And to make matters worse, she's going around and blocking everyone on Twitter. I've seen many different people report that they have been blocked by her account, including a lot of critics of various gaming studios and what have you. And also, the former Sony head Sean Layden has come out in defense of her and this game, saying, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Which is some famous last words we have heard many times before with other games that ended up flopping. This is like a ask and you shall receive. If you tell people not to buy your game, they won't buy it. This is like an open challenge. This is the worst thing you could ever say to people in response to criticism or concerns about the direction of this recently announced game. Now, of course, there's a lot more to go into here, and I won't dig too deep. This is probably a video for the next couple of days where we'll talk about Ghost of Yotai some more. But let's return to the other side of Ubisoft this year. They have two major AAA releases that they have ensured that they're to their shareholders that will succeed. One was Assassin's Creed Shadows. The other is Star Wars Outlaws that released about a month ago. And how are things going with that one? Ooh, oh boy. Ubisoft admits Star Wars Outlaws sales softer than expected as it slashes net expected bookings by 30%. And you can see in that Park Place article, they go into some detail here, basically saying that things are going even worse than their already limited expectations for Star Wars Outlaws. In fact, it has been reported by True Trophies that only a month after release, Star Wars Outlaws is barely keeping in the top 40 in terms of sales for PlayStation. For PlayStation, not overall games. they barely keep in the top 40 for PlayStation. To give you a reference, they're getting beaten out by Hogwarts Legacy, God of War Ragnarok, and Ghost of Tsushima, all three of which have released over a year ago. That is a really bad sign for this game in Ubisoft. It got so bad, in fact, that Ubisoft's CEO had to come out and clarify some things. Not only acknowledging that there was a huge failure of their quarter two, but also that apparently he needed to dispel the supposed rumors that there is some sort of an agenda being pushed by the company through their games, where he would go on to say, finally, let me address some of the polarized comments around Ubisoft lately. I want to reaffirm that we are an entertainment-first company creating games for the broadest possible audience, and our goal is not to push any specific agenda. We remain committed to creating games for fans and players that everyone can enjoy. Now, of course, this claim that they put the game quality first over agenda is something that can be disproven by just looking at their website. One of the first things Ubisoft wants you to know about them is that they have diversity, inclusion, and accessibility in their games. In fact, if you look at the content section of that, you can see they say, we create gaming experiences that push representation forward by embedding diversity and inclusion across our processes, increasing representation in our teams, and offering access to resources that help teams to build more authentic, inclusive, and accessible gaming experiences. That is clearly the top of their priorities when it comes to making games, and they want you to believe otherwise because they're getting desperate right now. In fact, we recently saw, only about 2 weeks ago, a mentorship program at Ubisoft was revealed, where for over 4 years they've had this program where only women and non-binary identifying individuals can apply, aka they exclude men from applying to this mentorship program. And overall, like with Assassin's Creed Shadows in the February release, it has been recently announced that Star Wars Outlaws will be coming to Steam as well in November. Now, for a long time, Ubisoft has been kind of flicking their nose at Steam and trying to basically do their own thing, especially with PlayStation, but now they're desperately returning back to Steam early too, not just, at some point very early on after the release of Star Wars Outlaws and with the actual release of Assassin's Creed Shadows in February, to try to boost their sales because they are desperate. They are that desperate. They are immediately clinging on to Steam to get any new sales they can possibly get as soon as possible, so they can say to the very worried shareholders that they're figuring things out, even if things look really, really bleak for the company right now. But overall, that's going to do it for this video. Ubisoft is genuinely in really big trouble. I mean, I don't know what's worse. Letting Assassin's Creed Shadows be the final bomb of the year for Ubisoft, or delaying it so it's the first bomb of February in 2025. I mean, what feels better as a shareholder? You get nothing the rest of the year, no major titles, and then a eventual flop to start the year off? Or do you want to you basically rip the Band-Aid off and have the flop now? Who knows? It's all bad for Ubisoft, and that's their problem to deal with, and no one really feels sorry for them. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.